Here.
Councilman Charlin.
Here.
Council President Lavelle.
Here.
Euron's over here. We are missing one board member. That's Sam Williamson. I think he is not going to be on today.
That's correct.
Okay, so that's 4 present, 1 absent. We do have a quorum. Let's move on to 1B in the agenda. Approval of the April 9th, 2026 URA regular board meeting minutes. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor, that motion passes. And now is our time for public comment, even though we're in a new room. Hopefully it works the same way.
That's correct.
Okay, public comment.
My name is Catherine Murray, and I'm the Director of Government Affairs. Members of the public have the opportunity to provide comment on URA Board of Directors meetings, agenda items in person, virtually, or in writing. Registration for online comments is required in advance. Written comments received before the board meeting will become part of the public record. We received no written comments this month, and we have 2 registered online first. Our first registered public commenter is from Tani Moorfield. Tani, are you on? Could wait another moment. Okay, maybe we'll go to our second public commenter and we can come back to Tani if Tani joins us. Our second registered public comment is from Megan Hammond of Fair Housing Pittsburgh. Megan, are you able to log on? Okay, all right. It seems like we're not having our online commenters join us at the moment. So at this point in time, would anybody in the room like to make a public comment? Come on up. Do you want me to come to you? Is that easier? Whatever you prefer, whatever easier for you.
My name is Betty Lane. I'm a lifetime resident of Pittsburgh, PA, and a 55-year-old resident of the Larimer neighborhood. My reason for appearing before you today is because I applied to purchase 2 vacant lots located in Larimer beside my African Healing Garden in 2019. The city and the URA have consistently given me the runaround over the years, as you can see in the information that I have provided that they're going to copy for you. Developers are confiscating all of the vacant land through the URA. New for sale housing is definitely needed, but for who? Gentrification is and will increase. The average income currently in Larimer is $21,400 a year. Service jobs are 40%. The other are 60%, which are in education, social services, healthcare. Credit counseling is not going to help and no benefit without adequate employment and income. Initially, I applied to the city for these lots, believing that the process that was in place when I purchased a lot in 2017 from the city for $637 would probably be changed. However, I did not expect the cost of a lot that was even smaller than the one I previously purchased to jump in price to $7,000 a lot. Being verbally told that each lot would cost $7,000 was ridiculous. An interesting note is that in 2 emails, it states that transfer of property was mentioned. I was in those meetings monthly, and that did not occur. I used to be on the Larimer Consensus Group board. Finally, adding insult to injury, the URA had the audacity to send me a greenhouse redevelopment proposal that reads like I'm a developer, not a community resident. How much project would cost? Proposed drawings, URAs to give permission for 20 years regarding selling of the property, and so forth is outlined. I don't want to lease the property from the URA. That is acting like a landlord. I want to outright purchase the property for a fair and reasonable price. To the URA board members, we as a group that is involved in this process say, do what's right by Larimer's long-standing stakeholders in the community. And so it is.
Thank you. Ms. Lane, I don't know if you're staying for the whole meeting, but okay, but let's make sure that we talk to you or your representative afterwards. I don't know the situation, but it sounds like something that we've got to address. So thank you so much. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Betty. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Becca Zayla Mguni, and I have lived in Pittsburgh for 24 years. I'm also a resident and homeowner in Lincoln Larmer, and I've been a community member and a supporter of the African Healing Garden for at least the last 5 years, but have been in relationship with Mama Betty for several years. And I have witnessed her dedication to the Larmer community and her commitment to bringing resources, support, and healing to this neighborhood, which is critical. Larmer has the lowest life expectancy in the city of Pittsburgh, and we need to support the longstanding residents who bring necessary resources and representation to the concerns of the people who live there and have been longtime members of this community. It is egregious that the land would be increased in such a number to someone who is bringing a necessary community. It's more than a service. Actually, right? It's not even a service. It is something beyond words. And it is egregious that it would be so priced out of reach for something that would be invaluable to our community. Not only are healing herbs grown in that garden, but fruit trees are grown in that garden. Botanical literacy is promoted in that garden. Community space for young people and people of all ages to gather is offered in that space, which we know is critical in a community that is losing third spaces all around. And we know that Mama Betty has devoted her life to this space and to serving the community of Larmer. And so I really truly urge you to do what is right by the residents of this community, to not make another decision that is a slap in their face and that is outrightly supporting racist policies of gentrification, removing them from their communities. And so I really stand in support of Mama Betty, and I will be here to continue to do that and urge you to do the right thing. And so I appreciate you listening to my comments. And just completely honestly, as a taxpaying member and a voting community member, I really, really want the city to listen to the members of the community when they say what their needs are. Because we know what our needs are. We know what will make our communities thrive. We know what will make our children joyful and healthy. And communities like Larmer need so many resources and need a devoted commitment to change the capacity to change the actual outcomes. Because when we listen to the studies that are done about the city of Pittsburgh, and we all love to say that Pittsburgh is the most livable city in America, and it is not the most livable city for Black women. It is not the most livable city for the residents of Larmer. And we can actually change that with your policies and with your actions and by taking this step. So I really encourage you to listen. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would any other members of the public in the room like to make public comment? Okay, I think we're going to go back to our online commenters now. Great. All right. Tawny Moorfield, I think your hand is up. Were you able to unmute Tawny, please?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks
I
for your
wasn't able to
patience.
speak earlier. I was here the whole time.
Apologies if you're having technical glitches today. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. I'm speaking on behalf of Carol Lewis. It's for 505 Paulson Avenue. Just to reiterate what was said from Betty, that she so as far as our concerns are that we weren't given the opportunity to purchase a lot that's right directly behind our yard, and it's been a nuisance because we've called multiple times to ask them to the city to come and clean it up because the tree is coming over. There's lots of shrubbery that's been kind of coming over and infiltrating our yard. And I called a few times on my mom's behalf to ask if it was available for purchase, and I was told that it was unavailable. But then I just saw that the Larmer's Consensus Project has purchased it, and to me that seems like very much so a slap in the face, considering my mother has lived in this neighborhood for over 40 years, and she's been a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen, and a voter as well. And she was not given the opportunity to expand on her, where we live in as far as that goes, and also being able to expand her yard. And I think that's not that's very unfortunate, and I think it's very it's definitely a slap in the face. So that was pretty much her concern. And thank you for me being able to give opportunity to speak about this.
Thank you. I'd like to move on to our other registered public commenter, Megan Hammond. Megan, thanks for bearing with us.
Absolutely. Can you hear me?
We can. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you. Good morning, URA Board. My name is Megan Hammond. I'm the Executive Director of the Fair Housing Partnership of Greater Pittsburgh. You may be aware of the difficulties facing low-income and fair housing nationwide. And so I cannot thank Pittsburgh and the URA enough for continuing to maintain longstanding norms regarding fairness in housing. So today I have two asks for the board's consideration. Regarding disability accessibility, I sincerely thank the URA for its adoption of PHFA's visitability requirements. Due to our aged housing stock, our need for physical accessibility within housing is simply much greater than the federal accessibility minimums provide. Visitability is based on physical accessibility that allow people with difficulty walking to be a guest within housing units. And so those visitability requirements for townhouses are particularly critical because otherwise townhouses are exempt from the Fair Housing Amendments Act of 1988's physical accessibility requirements. So a townhouse, by definition, will not meet the highest standards for physical accessibility. However, physical accessibility is a spectrum. And additionally, family-sized units are often townhouses, and reasonably accessible low-income housing for families with a member who has a disability is often the most difficult unit type to find for our client base. However, I want to point out that visitability is focused on a townhouse's first floor. And so my ask is for the consideration of expanding on visitability with the simple goal of units being adaptable for disability access upon the request by a future resident who has a disability. Specifically regarding townhouses is to ensure that the width of the stairs is suitable for later installing a stair lift upon request by a future resident, as well as that the upstairs hallway, the width, and the doorway widths of the upstairs are also meeting those accessibility minimums. My second comment is, as you know, we adopted a lottery selection process for the Housing Assistance Program. The need for low-income housing and housing programs is overwhelmingly greater than the available resources. And so my ask for your consideration is for residential developments that receive URA funds to conduct lease-up via lottery, except for units that are preserved, which were inhabited by households prior to the preservation that will then be inhabited by those residents after the rehabilitation. A lottery ensures that all Pittsburghers who qualify for the available units have the same opportunity to secure a highly desirable unit. The model used in HEP is now widely adopted by Action Housing for its developments, and it ensures an equal opportunity that all qualified applicants who apply during a 30 or 60-day window have an honest shot at achieving one of those units. Pairing the lottery with a robust affirmative fair housing action plan and equitable tenant screening criteria, with the goal being to ensure that all the resulting units are benefiting all qualified Pittsburghers. Fair housing is about giving Pittsburghers the choice of where we live. I thank you all for your time and your hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes our public comment period.
Thank you, Director Murray. We have a handful of announcements today, so I will ask Lynette Morris to join us for the first, which is the Commercial Facade Grant Program.
Thank you, Chairman Zober and Director Namani Stanner, and good afternoon to the URA Board of Directors and public. My name is Lynette Morris. I am the Engagement Analyst in the Commercial and Business Lending Department. Today, I would like to announce that the application for the Commercial Facade Grant Program is open and accepting applications until Friday, May 29th. This grant program will boost neighborhood main streets by providing grant dollars to eligible businesses and commercial property owners to improve their external facade. The funding covers 75% of project cost, up to $20,000 for exterior work, including windows, doors, brick pointing, painting, signage, lighting, and more. Eligibility restrictions are limited to properties that have commercial use and are in or near a neighborhood business district. This program is available citywide. The URA also offers technical assistance to support grant applications. Now, the applications will be reviewed and the projects will be evaluated based on their impact on neighborhood businesses, districts, and their neighborhood engagement. Adherence to the URA facade program or design guidelines and its geographic location. Pictured here is the beautiful renovation of the facade at 604 Liberty Avenue, which showcased the impact that a facade renovation has on Main Street. The Commercial Facade Grant Program application launched on Monday, April 13th for the pilot round of the program, with an application deadline for this round on Friday, May 29th at 5 p.m. Please visit our website at theura.org. It's on the front page, and it says URA accepting applications for facade grant. You'll click Learn More, and then it'll give you information regarding financing, fees, eligible uses, how to apply, confirm eligibility, how to plan the project, and review the guidelines. And also you need to gather quotes, prepare materials such as photos, your W-9 form, and owner permission. These are all very important. So again, submit the application, the required materials, and the $50 fee before the deadline of May 29th at 5 p.m. Thank you so much. If you have additional questions, please ask them now.
Thank you, Lynette.
You're
Appreciate it.
welcome.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to the second announcement, Brandon Wilson will walk us through the HOF annual allocation. It's that season again.
Hello, URA Board. My name is Brandon Wilson, and I am a Senior Project Manager with the URA's Housing Department. I'm here to announce the opening of the annual Housing Opportunity Fund Allocation Plan Survey for the 2027 program year. The survey will be open from May 14th, 2026 to June 15th, 2026. Every year, we conduct the survey to determine the relative priorities of Pittsburghers in regards to affordable housing. We encourage everyone who lives in the city to take 5 to 10 minutes to fill out the survey. You can access the survey via the QR code or the links on the slide. Survey results are anonymous and they inform the allocations among the HOF programs in the annual HOF allocation plan. We encourage you to spread this survey through your networks to get the maximum possible participation and see the viewpoints of as many Pittsburghers as possible. Surveys are available in both English and Spanish and can also be translated to any other language by reaching out to translation@ura.org. I'd like to thank the board for giving me the opportunity to announce the survey and open up for any questions.
Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Next announcement, turn it over to Chief Link for the Golden Triangle Reinvestment Fund bond underwriting.
Yeah, thanks so much, Sushila, members of the board, the public. Yeah, just a couple of announcements here actually related to the Golden Triangle Reinvestment Fund and the funding mechanism behind that, the downtown TRID that we're working through. The first is an announcement that the URA is going to release a request for qualifications, an RFQ, for bond underwriting services for the downtown TRID in support of the reinvestment fund. We are going to release the RFQ today, May 14th, 2026. Proposals through that RFQ process are due on June 4th, 2026. I can answer questions on this if anyone has any.
Questions?
None? Okay. Mind if I take the next one? Okay, sure. The next is related to the same effort, downtown TRID, the Golden Triangle Reinvestment Fund. The URA will release a request for information, an RFI, to solicit information from downtown developers and property owners to catalog the potential for downtown development and the activation of street level retail space that could be unlocked through the efforts of the fund and the TRID. That RFI will be released a week from today, May 21st, 2026, and the responses to that request for information will be due on June 29th, 2026. And I am happy to answer questions on this as well.
Anything? Nope.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sure.
So moving on to Southside Flats RFP, Gordon Hall's going to walk us through what this action, well, it's not an action, announcement. Thank you. Hi, Gordon.
Hi, good afternoon, Board. My name is Gordon Hall, and I'm a project manager with the Development Services Department. Today, I'm announcing that the URA will be releasing a request for proposals for the redevelopment of a riverfront site at South 18th Street and South Riverside Mews in the Southside Flats neighborhood of the city of Pittsburgh. The URA is seeking developers and/or development teams to submit a proposal for the purchase and redevelopment of the property located at 9 through 15 South 18th Street and 1806 through 1830 South Riverside Mews, as further depicted in the slide. The total land area is approximately 3/4 of an acre or 3,600 square feet, and the zoning is a riverfront mixed-use district. The goal of this request for proposals is to select a qualified and economically viable development proposal for the redevelopment of the property. The URA will be releasing the RFP on our public bidding platform, IonWave Technologies, on Monday, May 18th, and proposals will be due on Friday, July 10th, 2026. With that, I will pause for any questions. Thanks.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Riverside Mews project across the street? How big was that? How many units was it? Do you have some information on that? I know that this was sort of an offshoot of that project.
Sure. The Riverside Mews site located just to the south was actually a two-phase proposal that the URA led over a decade ago. The site that we're releasing for a proposal actually was the intended phase 3 of that project, but the phase 3 never actually materialized. So we're putting these sites back up for bid. But they will be unrelated to the first 2 phases of the original Riverside Mews development.
Do you know how long this has sort of sat vacant,
I think
available for development?
I think we've owned these properties since 2005, so about 20 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been here about
A long time. That's a long time. It's long. That fits in nicely with the next item that we'll talk about. Hey, Councilman Charlene, did you have something?
Yeah, not really a question. I'm excited to see this move forward. This is, a fantastic area for for something to go into, right? Leading into the dog park, leading into some of the best amenities in the South Side.
Yeah.
And really excited to see what comes back, and hopefully someday soon be at a groundbreaking and a ribbon cutting and moving in new neighbors here into my district. So thank you for this.
Look forward to it.
Thank you. Anything else?
Thanks, Gordon.
Thank you.
Next item will be presented by Julia McMahon.
Hello, my name is Julia McMahon, and I'm a senior project manager in the Development Services Unit. The URA is going to release an RFP in Allentown for a scattered site proposal. We're seeking one or more developers or development teams to submit a proposal for the purchase and redevelopment of all or part of a scattered site assemblage to produce high-quality housing in Allentown. The parcels are located between Beltshoover Avenue, East Warrington Avenue, Helen Way, and Cedarhurst Street, and it's about 1.5 acres total. The RFP will be released on June 8th, 2026 on IonWave, and responses are due on August 10th, 2026. Any questions?
Thank you. And do you have any idea how long the city has owned these parcels? I think they're all city owned, not URA owned.
All
They are
yellow, all
city-owned.
city-owned.
No, I don't know. I don't know.
But probably more than a couple of years.
More than a couple of years.
Are these all places probably that used to have houses on them?
Yeah, so the majority are vacant. There are a few with, I think 2 or 3 that have small structures on them.
Okay.
But yeah, there's even the ones on Warrington Avenue are situated between houses. So
These are sort of
They used
places
to
where
be
people in
housing.
Pittsburgh used to live.
Yes, correct.
Mhm. Okay. Anything here?
Yeah,
Councilman?
I mean, again, no questions, but as excited as I was for the last announcement, I am very excited for this and what this could mean for Allentown. This is a neighborhood that I think has a ton of opportunity. It's got a quirky business district, you know, big public transit amenities, and really could be something very awesome. We need to welcome more neighbors into this part of town, and very excited that this is where we're looking at for the next phase here. Could not be more supportive of this announcement.
Anything from any other board members? I do have a couple guests in the audience that I want to invite to say a few words because I've learned a lot from them in a very short time. We're looking at two different announcements today about putting out RFPs for various properties, some of which we've owned as a city or URA for decades, many of which used to have people on them when we were a city of 600 or 700,000 instead of a city of 300,000. And as most of you know, Mayor O'Connor has a mandate to grow this city. We just had the draft here a few weeks ago, months ago, years ago, days ago. I don't know. Sometimes it seems like forever. Sometimes a few days. But the entire world got to see how special Pittsburgh was, which was great. And everybody said, wow, man, I wish, if you saw the comments online, I wish I could live there. I wish I could be there. And the truth is there are only so many places you can actually live in Pittsburgh right now because our housing stock is old and we do have a lot of vacant lots and not a whole lot of new construction. When we get that new construction, we love it. And of course, we do have a good older housing stock, and I do mean older, so if you're looking for something new, if you're looking for an apartment with amenities, or you're looking for, and we just heard from Fair Housing Pittsburgh, the kind of ranch style home that you can have just about anywhere around us, but not in us, that's new and modern and yet relatively affordable. We just don't have a lot of product like that. And the idea should be that we can build that here because it's being built all around us. And in talking with the two gentlemen I'm about to introduce, I'm learning more and more that isn't just possible, it's happening all the time. And there are folks out there who build these houses, and we've sort of gotten used to the same 4 or 5 builders in Pittsburgh, and that's great. But there's a world of other builders who are building everywhere around the country and in suburbs across the region who are selling houses, yes, expensive houses too, but also homes for $200,000, $300,000, that are relatively affordable, and using the kind of product that we have here at the URA that we use all the time, the first-time homebuyers program, the HOF programs. I mean, we can really build a city, depending on demand, which we believe is there based on everything we've seen, if we supply the housing stock that Pittsburghers deserve and that we need in order for neighborhoods to grow and thrive. If we're going to be neighborhoods and we love our neighborhoods, then we're going to need more neighbors, because a lot of these, in Allentown, there's more what I'd call, non-yellow than yellow. Yellow is city owned, but in some neighborhoods across the city, we have a whole lot more yellow than we do the non-city owned. And those are opportunities for Miss Betty to have an expanded garden, sure. And that's good. And we should encourage that, but also opportunities for people to build houses that people that will then live in, that people will then, create families in, and hopefully build equity in their own home, not just on rental, which is a lot of what we do, in part because affordable housing as an industry is a lot about rental, but also about for sale housing that people can own and call their own forever. And so there are two people here today that I just wanted to just briefly comment about market and what Pittsburgh is ready for based on what they've seen. And some of them have put me in touch with, they put me and Mayor O'Connor in touch with developers who in fact right now are deploying capital in big ways to build 300 units at a time in places like Lawrenceville and the South Side. And that means 400 new residents. And if it's 300, and many of them new to Pittsburgh, and that means in turn, they pay income taxes, they pay property taxes. Those keep our schools open, keep our roads paved, and they expand our population and make us everything we want to be. So those two people, I'll introduce them in turn, are Brian McCann, who's Senior Vice President of Colliers for multifamily, probably, sort of change that last title a little bit, and Dennis Steigerwalt, President of Housing Innovation Alliance. Maybe let's take Dennis first. If you just want to talk about your work in the for sale housing sphere and what you've seen in Pittsburgh and what you're trying to do, that'd be great. If you don't mind.
Please, yeah, to the podium would be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm really excited to see all this. I don't know these specific lots, but I'm from Eastern Pennsylvania. I graduated from the University of Pittsburgh in 2003. And since then, I've kind of watched incremental change in each of these neighborhoods and all these vacant lots. And I think I had my first hands-on experience with this in 2016 when I was living in the Middle East, working on a number of housing programs. And I decided to try and purchase my first lot. And I kind of went through the same experience that nice woman earlier described. A lot of back and forth, a lot of price changing, then ultimately I landed on a site. So to see this scattered site approach, and I think at mass is really, really interesting and unique. So a little bit about my organization and why we care. So I run a group called the Housing Innovation Alliance. We were established in 2008 to help builders get ahead of energy performance standards. Today, we work with over 3,000 companies around the country, 1,500 of which are builders and developers. And the idea is to better understand how we can implement what they're doing at scale in infill opportunities like this one that you just showcased. As the board mentioned, there's a number of examples where this is working around the country, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are cities with industrial legacies that are going through a similar renaissance. And we have showcase projects that are happening right now with large-scale builders in markets like Charlotte that are tackling this exact same challenge and delivering product that is 80% AMI designed for that market. One thing that is uniquely interesting about this is we're running on a 5-year federally funded grant through HUD with the University of Pittsburgh to not only identify what we should build and where we should build it, but how we build it, looking at the innovation side of things from materials and methods. We're doing a lot of that work with top 5 production home builders, some of which are now operating in this marketplace. So the goal would be to translate those learnings into these markets as best we can. So we have a lot of ideas on how we can solve for this. The work that we've done has landed into physical concepts that have been built in the Garfield neighborhood. So we can showcase what can be, and it's walkable today. But what's also important about that is it allows us to understand that there are a lot of folks that when you give them what they're looking for, they will move to this market or stay in this city proper. And there's ways to do it at the price points that make sense. So
We appreciate it. Thank you.
thank you.
And Brian, and before Brian, and before you start, go ahead, Brian. But before you go, when we talk about multifamily, I remember there was a time when apartments were being built along the rivers. Some, not a lot. Especially in the Strip District, and people said, "Well, how many apartments can we possibly have in this city?" Because we're used to just a city where people live in houses and mostly older housing stock. And, it turns out if you look around the country, we're kind of getting our what's handed to us by markets like Cleveland, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Kansas City. We don't want to be beaten by them on the football field, but we're kind of being beaten by them in the residential field. We per capita, we're like thousands of units short of where they are. And what that means is that if we're similar, and I think that we are, that means that people want to live in the city of Pittsburgh proper if we give them a place to live. And I appreciate you coming here, Brian, not just because you've taught me some of that, but also because some of those places that they want to live and how those folks think. Because each time they make a decision, and these folks get to make decisions about where to build their product, then 300 units, which is another 400 new residents in our community, they're living here and they weren't before. So every time we get one of those wins, that's a big win for everybody. So thanks for coming.
You took all my talking points.
Oh, sorry.
No, name's Brian McCann. Just a little bit of background. I'm from the area. I went to school here. I did prior career took me to Cincinnati, Philadelphia, DC, and New York City. And then I was lucky enough to come back here in 2017. And I think what we look at when it comes to housing stock is I love this city. I brought my wife here. She had never been here before. It's amazing. And we compare it to some of the other places that we live. And so in multifamily specifically and in residential apartments, I like to see what we're doing here and compare it to some of our other cities. And I talk about our peer cities, and I'll define what I mean by that. You hit on a lot of them. Cleveland, Cincinnati, Kansas City, Columbus, and Indianapolis is where we pull a lot of data from, just because some of the demographics, some of the industries, they have some similarities. We rank dead last in the number of apartments out of all those cities. And they say, well, what about population? We are still dead last when we actually benchmark it per capita. And I'll give you some statistics. I usually do this on an MSA basis, but I did this just for the city. So we did all the data today is based on the city limits itself. We have about 149 apartments for every 1,000 residents we have here. Cleveland, Ohio has 415. Cincinnati has 382. So basically, if you look at just those numbers there, if we stopped building and stopped growing, and Cleveland and Cincinnati stopped growing, we would need an additional 81,000 apartments today to catch up to have that same number. What is driving that? We have one of the things, the great advantages of our city is our beautiful topography. Also makes it very, very challenging for development. Also, our construction cost pricing on average is 10 to 20% higher than our other peer cities. Those things are driving basically developers choosing other places to build. That becomes problematic. And I think we sometimes we rest on the laurels like, hey, the groups that are here are going to build here. But one of the things nowadays with the advent of like data that's basically much more fluid is people are choosing where to build and where to go. So they're looking at that. And we need to do things and enact things that are going to basically push development, push new housing stock at all levels of accessibility. So this isn't just about brand new top of the line class A construction. It's also very accessible housing for all. So I think we need to look at that and kind of move things forward, or we're going to continue to fall behind. Our housing stock is already old, and if we don't continue to kind of look forward in ways to move things forward, we're going to run into farther trouble. And in a lot of ways now, we used to say, hey, the job's got to come first and then housing comes. When we've kind of in that new era, people actually can live in a lot of places with remote work, and we actually need to get ahead of housing now. And if we have good housing stock, we'll draw population, which will then draw jobs. So we're in a little different method. So happy to take any questions if there's anything.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I thought it was important to take these two together in addition to the items that we're going to have later on the agenda, because today is actually a big one for housing, where we actually have 150 new units that we're helping to fund that are going to come online in 3 different neighborhoods. And we'll talk about those a little later. But when you take this as a group, what you see is a pattern, which is Pittsburgh is great and people want to live here. We as a government have something like 12,000 parcels of property, including things that we've held for decades, that haven't really been moved, proactively. Sometimes we're reactive. Sometimes we're just waiting for the right thing to come along maybe, or somebody to come and give us an offer. But we have this rare opportunity right now to grow this city and do what Mayor O'Connor has asked us all to do, help our neighborhoods attract new neighbors. And when we do that, we're all going to grow and prosper together. So I thank you guys for coming. I thank you, Councilman Charlin, for working in your neighborhoods to do that. And Councilman Lavelle, your turn is later in this show. And we're RFP, you see this every week, every month, and you're going to continue to see it. Where last month we RFP'd a large site, or a couple months ago in the Hill District. We're going to have another housing development in the Hill now. So, we think about the draft, and it's kind of like Pittsburgh neighborhoods are now on the clock. So the clock runs now, and we have this opportunity to really grow this city if we're all working together. So thank you guys for coming in. Thank you all for being here and indulging us, and let's go get it. Next.
Okay. Robert is here to present the Grow America certifications.
Good afternoon, board and public. My name is Robert Rubenstein. I am a special consultant to the URA. In the economic development and housing development fields, there's long been a gold standard of training for finance professionals, and that is provided by the nonprofit Grow America, formerly known as National Development Council. For decades, becoming certified was a requirement of URA staff working in commercial lending, housing lending, and economic development departments. If you look at the table in the front of the room, Executive Director Namani Stanger, Chief Link, Chief Wassler have all been certified through this program, either in housing or economic development, as well as several others in the back corner of the room. I'm looking at some folks there, and myself included. We've all received the certification. The economic development finance professional credential teaches skills in business credit analysis, real estate financing, loan packaging, deal structuring and negotiating, and the creation and implementation of development programs. Each of the certification courses are 5 days in length, full-time, and conclude with an exam. You must pass that exam before you move on to the next class. Typically, this is done over a period of 2 years. I'm proud to say our group today that we're going to be acknowledging completed this in a cycle of 1 year. So a lot of time dedicated, a lot of hard work. It's akin to going to college classes. The housing development program also has a similar certification process, similar rigorous schedule. We'll be recognizing those folks later this year as they will take their final class and sit for the exam in a few weeks from now. So in partnership with the Community Reinvestment Group, we brought this training to the city of Pittsburgh through the generous funding from Hillman Foundation, Heinz Endowments, Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, Buell Foundation, Anonymous, S&T Bank, and PNC Bank. We offered scholarships to all the community development and housing development organizations in southwestern Pennsylvania. We had, in the Economic Development Finance Series, we had 34 participants start the program, representing 12 different organizations. Half of those folks successfully took all 4 courses and passed the exams and are earning this credential. So I'm pleased today to recognize and congratulate the 12 URA team members who are now certified. If you can stand up while I read your name to be acknowledged, we have Brooke Shetler, Brandon Wilson, Maya Fuse, Leah Matthews, Michael Bitsura, ML Meyer, Oscar Medina, Gordon Hall, Danita Thomas, Julia McMahon, and in June, Lily Friedman will be sitting for the class and exam. So I want to congratulate you all.
Yeah, so like I've got to take these classes, all right?
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Robert, and
Thank
thank you
you.
for coordinating these for our team. These classes are not easy, and it's 5 days of just in-depth expert dive into special topics related to economic development. And so congratulations to everyone. It's really important to have the talented staff with us, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
John, okay, we have John Bonello here. It is quarterly impact season, so he'll be presenting the Q1 of 2026.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is John Bonello. I'm a senior data and evaluation specialist in the Strategic Data and Impact Unit, and I'm back with yet another quarterly impact report for the first quarter of 2026. As you may know, SDNI spends the first 6 weeks of each quarter collecting and analyzing the outputs from the previous quarter to report our progress towards our strategic goals. On your screen now are some highlights from the Q1 2026 URA Impact Report. 19 businesses connected to technical assistance through URA and its affiliates. 262 individuals were able to stay in their homes through either housing crisis prevention programs or housing-related legal assistance provided by the Housing Opportunity Fund. 9 individuals were assisted in achieving home ownership through the HOF Down Payment and Closing Cost Assistance Program. 261 units of affordable housing were created or preserved with assistance through our residential and consumer lending programs. 12 small business loans were closed between the URA and its affiliates worth over $798,000, and roughly $188,000 were dispersed to businesses maintaining vacant lots and support neighborhood projects. The full report is now live on the impact page of the website and shows more of the great work that was done by the URA in our first quarter. We encourage anyone who's interested in taking a closer look at some of those metrics to go to the impact section of the website listed under the About Us heading. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
John? Okay, moving on to our main agenda. We'll start with development services, and for that, I'll turn it back over to Julia McMahon to walk us through Greater Hill Reinvestment Fund.
Hello, Julia McMahon, Senior Project Manager, Development Services Unit. The Greater Hill District Neighborhood Reinvestment Fund is a community-driven fund created as a result of the Lower Hill Local Economic Revitalization Tax Assistance Program. The Greater Hill District Neighborhood Reinvestment Fund Advisory Board establishes an annual allocation plan and guidelines for fund-related programs. The advisory board then makes recommendations to the URA regarding expenditures of fund dollars for eligible programs and projects. On October 9th, 2025, at the recommendation of the advisory board, the URA board adopted 2 programs. The first program is Children, Youth, and Education Initiatives Program, which provides grants of up to $25,000 to support community-based organizations providing educational activities and experiences $240,000 in total was approved in funding. The second program was a Workforce Development Initiatives Program, which provides grants of up to $30,000 to support initiatives that prepare individuals for sustainable employment. And $120,000 in total funding was approved. On April 30th of this year, the advisory board recommended a total of $116,460 in children, youth, and education programs expenditures and $60,000 in workforce development initiative programs. And Kirk Holbrook, the project manager consultant for the reinvestment fund, is going to come up and talk about the projects.
Good afternoon, board, URA leadership, Chairman Zober, and Vice Chair, Council President Lavelle. My name is Kirk Holbrook, and I'm the project manager for the Greater Hill District Neighborhood Reinvestment Fund. Each time I come before you and have the honor of coming before you, I talk about the significant steps the Reinvestment Fund continues to take, and today is another one of those milestones. One of the unique aspects of the Greater Hill District Neighborhood Reinvestment Fund is it extends beyond what we normally think of community development. It extends beyond brick and mortar development. It actually has a very intentional focus on serving the most precious resource in the Hill District, which are the people of the Hill District. So what you're here about today are some programs that not only will help young people in literacy learning, innovative ways to teach STEM and entrepreneurship, ways to ready young people for the workforce and career opportunities, as well as some wealth building opportunities. But again, this is comprehensive community development, and this reemphasizes the unique nature of the Greater Hill District Neighborhood Reinvestment Fund. So just really quickly, some of the projects that we are hoping to get approval on are Boom Concepts has a Black Power Storytime project, which is an ongoing community reading and storytelling circle that'll serve hundreds of youth within the Hill District and also give away hundreds of books. Beyond Blessed Catering, which is a homegrown, great culinary entity within the Hill District, is partnering with one of our youth-serving organizations to develop a STEM and youth entrepreneurship lab, a 12-week educational program teaching young people about STEM through culinary activities, as well as other cultural awareness and educational outcomes. Grandma and Grandpa's Village is a homegrown initiative within the Hill District, a collection of elders that are teaching young people about history, family values, and entrepreneurship and self-expression through hands-on activities. Next slide. Also a program through the Hill Dance Academy Theater, which is teaching young people in their summer dance institute through arts, also exposing them to diverse artistic disciplines and careers. And then Reading is Fundamental, which has had a long, great history with our city, also in the Hill District, and we will be supporting the expansion of some of the great work that they're doing in the Hill. Next slide. So in addition to those 5 children, youth, and education programs, we also are supporting 2 workforce development initiative programs. One is from the Center That Cares. It's the Career Compass, guiding young adults towards sustainable work. It's a 12 to 16-week workforce program that provides wraparound services, gets young people ready for sustainable employment, but also infuses some financial literacy education, mental wellness support, et cetera. And then Generational Life. This is a workforce to wealth initiative, very unique, that is going to help adults in the Hill District learn financial literacy, also learn some skills so they can become licensed insurance individuals. And so we're really excited about that. And so before we move on to the next slide, I did want to take an opportunity to recognize the individuals in this room. If you guys could raise your hand who are recipients of, Kyle, you're one of them, from Reading is Fundamental, of our grant making programs. I think the fact that we have support here shows how much the community supports the momentum that we're building through the Reinvestment Fund, but also shows that we're meeting a clear need. The next slide is the acknowledgement of what makes the Reinvestment Fund possible. The Reinvestment Fund is a truly community-led and community-driven fund. It is co-chaired by Council President Lavelle and Marimba Malayans, and also has the expertise and insight of members such as Richard Witherspoon, Loretta Payne, Reverend Grayson, Alicia George, Dr. Kim Ellis, and Lakeisha Wolf. None of this would be possible without the advisory board. Again, thank you guys for your consideration for approval, and we're excited to keep moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments, questions from the board? Councilman?
No.
Council President Bell?
Quick comment. Obviously, thank you, Kirk. Thank you, Julia, for all the work that you've done. The advisory board has been in place for a while, but if not for you all, we probably still would be stuck. So thank you. And I just want to thank those who chose to come down today, and for all that you do to service our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything further from the board? Having no motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you so much for coming down. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You can do that if you want. It's just us anyhow. I mean, I don't think.
Okay, moving on to housing items. We have a lot of housing production in this packet today. I'll turn it over to Jared Clayton with the first item in Ferrywood.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jared Clayton, and I'm a residential lending analyst at the URA. I'm here today seeking authorization to enter into a rental gap program loan agreement with Hilltop Villas LLC or a related entity at an amount of up to $2 million for the new construction of 48 units in the Ferrywood neighborhood, 28th Ward. Additionally, approval is requested for the proposal and form of contract for the sale of Block 70J, Lot 126, a 6.48 acre parcel located at 2039 Boarhead Fording Road in the 28th Ward to Hilltop Villas LLC, an affiliate of Trico Partners or related entity for $450,000 plus costs. Hilltop Villas will be a 3-story, 48-unit building with 1-bedroom apartments on a parcel of land that is currently owned by the URA. 40 units will be income restricted for households at or below between 20 and 60% of the area median income, and 8 units will be market rate. All common areas will be fully accessible, and the development will meet PHFA's visitability requirements, including 6 fully accessible units and 1 additional unit designed for residents specifically with sensory impairments. The proposed project will be advanced by an experienced development team with a proven track record in the area and will increase the supply of high-quality, affordable housing for adults aged 62 and older who make up roughly 20% of the residents in the surrounding area. Trico Partners' nearby senior affordable housing community, Seaward Homes, reached full occupancy within just 4 months of opening, and its waitlist continues to grow, which confirms the indications of sustained unmet demand in an area with very few LIHTC financed senior housing options. The total development cost for this project is just under $23 million. The Housing Authority of the City of Pittsburgh has committed 30 project-based vouchers, and this project was awarded a 9% low-income housing tax credit. Following the current board action to approve the proposal and form of contract for this project, it will return to the URA Board for authorization to execute the deed prior to financial closing. The developer plans to close on the property in late summer of 2026, and construction is expected to be completed in December of 2027. We're joined today by Isaac Sassoon from Trico Partners, and we're happy to address any questions you may have at this time.
Quick question. For the accessible units, could you go through at which AMI those ones are at?
Yes, I have it listed in the board packet, but essentially it's a spread between 20% and there's only one 30% unit. I believe that one is accessible. And then also on the 50. I'm not sure if there's any listed on the 60, but I would have to check the board packet.
That's helpful. Just want to make sure they weren't concentrated at the market.
Oh,
rate.
no.
Thank
no.
you.
Any other questions? Mr. Sassoon, did you want to say anything?
Isaac, are you on the Zoom? Oh, there you go. Okay.
I'm on the Zoom, and again, we appreciate the relationship here. I just wanted to underscore that we're very excited about this project. It really builds upon the demand that Jared mentioned that exists clearly in the Ferrywood community. Cedarwood leased up in actually a little bit less than 4 months. We expect the exact same thing here at Hilltop, and we're very excited to partner and continue to grow in the city of Pittsburgh.
Thank you so much. And is this a 9% LIHTC deal? Okay, so
It
this was
is.
competitive. This was competitive. If there's anything you do, I mean, keep on with the competitive, but if there's anything that you do that's not competitive, competitive, the downside of that for us collectively is that there are only so many. And we want to keep you going and keep on building because as we talked about today, there's a demand, such a high demand for all kinds of housing types throughout the city and senior housing in particular. I think there's a real dearth of that. And so what you have is people who want to grow old and age in their own communities. There's just no opportunity to do that. I live that with my own family members. So if there are other product types that you do out other places, Trico, and not just other product types, but other funding mechanisms, and the URA has a variety of tools that we can bring to the table. Nothing beats a 9%, but as we all know, there are only so many of them. So if there are any other ways that we can help you continue to do what you do, so, you're successful, but your success means the success of this neighborhood and of the city, we're happy to do that.
I'm happy to hear that. And let me just express that is the happiest thing that we could hear from an owner developer perspective. The reason that we developed Hilltop was at the actual ribbon cutting ceremony. Ms. Namani Stanger mentioned that there was demand, and we said, by all means, let's continue. And this development is a result of that. I think you suggesting further relationship here is probably going to elicit a phone call from me to the URA probably tomorrow to discuss further opportunities. So that's great to hear.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, as soon as we get out of here, I'll have, the mayor loves to call personally when he knows that somebody's building in our city and is interested in building more. So I don't know, I'd expect a call from staff here, but maybe some other folks in the near future too.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? There being none, motion to approve?
So
And second it?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion passes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The next item we have for housing is Hazelwood H.G. Blair. And for that, we have Shayla Burrow. Hi, Shayla.
Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shayla Burrow. I'm a lending analyst in the residential lending department. I'm here today to request authorization to enter into a rental gap or GP loan agreement in an amount not to exceed $2 million with HG Blair LLC or a related entity for the project known as HG Blair. The developer for this project will be Trek Development Group or Trek. The RGP loan will be funded using housing opportunity funds in addition to affordable housing bond funds. This project involves a new construction of a 46-unit multifamily apartment complex to be located at the corner of Blair Street and Eliza Street in the Hazelwood neighborhood of Pittsburgh. Since the decline of the steel industry in the 1980s, the Hazelwood community has experienced significant vacancies, blight, and disinvestment. HG Blair will join Trek's HG Lytle development to form the first affordable housing cluster within Hazelwood Green, providing safe, high-quality, and affordable housing in close proximity to growing economic opportunities in the area. HG Lytle is a 50-unit, 9% LIHTC project which closed in 2025 and will be completed in the fourth quarter of 2026. The developer Trek Development Group brings over 30 years of experience in commercial and residential development in Pittsburgh. This development is designed with a close relationship to Pittsburgh Scholar House to expand access to housing and educational support for residents who pursue higher education, particularly families with younger children. The goal was to reduce structural barriers, strengthen the existing community environment, and connect residents to long-term opportunity for economic mobility. The total development cost for this project is $24,464,000. Key funding sources include nearly $18 million in low-income housing tax credit equity, a $1.2 million loan from the Housing Authority of City of Pittsburgh, $1 million in PHFA fair funding, and $1 million in other county and state funding. The development will include 29 one-bedroom units, 10 two-bedroom units, 7 three-bedroom units, and the affordability mix is as follows: 5 units at 20% of the area median income or AMI, 23 units at or below 50% of the AMI, 16 units at or below 60% of the AMI, and 2 units will be market rate. These units will remain affordable at these incomes for a period of 40 years. In addition, 24 of the 44 units will hold project-based vouchers provided by the Housing Authority of the City of Pittsburgh. 6 units will meet a uniform federal accessibility standards, and 2 additional units will include audiovisual accessibility features. The property will feature common and management spaces along with resident amenities such as a fitness center, reading room, children's playroom, a community room, and a future commercial space. Joining us today is Janelle Camara, Development Operations Manager at Trek Development Group. She will offer any additional remarks and be available to answer any questions that the URA Board may have regarding this development. Thank you, Janelle.
Good afternoon, board members. I'm Janelle Kemmer, Development Operations Manager with Trek. I want to start by thanking you for your support of Phase 1, as mentioned. HG Lytle, we're excited that it's nearly 50% completed now. Our leasing team is beginning to ramp up and coordinate with our partners at the Housing Authority and Scholar House, and so we hope to have residents in place by the end of the year. There's a lot of great momentum happening at Hazelwood Green. I don't know if any of you have been down there recently, but it's exciting to see just all of the collaboration and synergy that's happening with major partners like CMU and Pitt being invested in the Hazelwood neighborhood there. Hazelwood Initiative, of course, has been a fantastic partner and just holding us accountable to developing without displacement has been their mantra and goal. So we're excited to be delivering on the first phase and look for your support for continuing those efforts in Phase 2, bringing in another 46 units. We're continuing the same partners with Pittsburgh Scholar House. We'll also be including, in addition to the 12 set-aside units that we have for Scholar House. We'll be continuing the Hazelwood residency preference as well, so that can support the community's goals to make sure that existing residents have first opportunity at these units while we connect them with just growing supports. So thank you all.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? And is this the first of a two-phase? Is that the total number of phases?
This is the second, yes.
This is second
Phase
phase.
2 of 2.
Okay. Are there future phases planned or potentially, or?
There's a lot more residential plan for the overall Hazelwood Green development, but this is all that Trek is involved in at this point.
Okay. Thank you. Anything further? If not, motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That motion passes. Thank you so much. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you. And for the last housing item, last but not least at all, we have Brooke Gwynn.
Good afternoon. My name is Brooke Gwynn. I am the manager of residential lending. Today, I will be requesting 3 authorizations for the Bedford Dwellings Phase 3 project. The first is authorization to waive the rental gap program guidelines to exceed the maximum RGP loan amount of $30,000 per unit, affordable at or below 60% of AMI, $50,000 per unit at or below 50% AMI, and $75,000 per unit at or below 30% of AMI, as well as authorization to waive the RGP guidelines to exceed the maximum loan amount of $2 million. And finally, the authorization to enter into an RGP loan agreement with Bedford Dwellings Phase 3 or a related entity in an amount of up to $7 million for the new construction of 65 units in the Bedford Dwellings neighborhood, 5th Ward. At 86 years old, Bedford Dwellings is Pittsburgh's oldest public housing development. In 2023, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development awarded a $50 million Choice Neighborhoods Implementation Grant or CNI grant for the redevelopment of Bedford Dwellings to the city of Pittsburgh. The CNI grant requires a 1-for-1 replacement of all 411 original units. The complete redevelopment of Bedford Dwellings will occur across several phases with an expected total unit count of 823 units, 435 of which will be on the current Bedford Dwellings site. The remaining units will be throughout the Greater Hill District. Construction of Phase 1 is complete and Phase 2 of the project is currently under construction. Trek Development Group is the developer of Bedford Dwellings Phase 3. Of the 65 units in this phase, 7 units will be affordable at or below 20% of area median income, 16 at or below 50%, 20 at or below 60%, and 22 at or below 80%. The project will feature a mix of 7 townhome units, 22 garden walk-ups, and 36 stacked townhome units. Apartment sizes include 9 one-bedrooms, 34 two-bedrooms, and 22 three-bedrooms. There will be 8 fully accessible units, and 2 additional units will include audio-visual accessibility features. 33 of the units will be replacements for current Bedford dwelling residents. The leveraging of local funds is a key component of the CNI grant. $1 million of HOF and $1 million of home funding is crucial to extend the impact of the $5 million of CDBG funding from the CNI grant. TREC submitted a 4% LIHTC application to the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency in April of 2026. The RGP loan approval will be conditional on the award of the 4% LIHTC and additional PHFA funding to complete the capital stack. The Housing Authority of the City of Pittsburgh is providing substantial financing of over $13 million. In addition to the funding from the URA, the Housing Authority, and PHFA, the capital stack includes almost $18 million in 4% tax credit equity from PNC Bank, if awarded, and the total development cost is $46,836,842. Construction is expected to be completed by October 2027. Joining us today is Addie Cullen from TREC Development.
Hi, Addie.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being to the board. I appreciate you taking this project on. I appreciate your continued support of the Bedford Dwellings projects. As you know, this is our 3rd phase. The first phase is complete and almost completely occupied. Our second phase is over 70% complete, and we will begin occupying units starting in July. So we look forward to cutting the ribbon on that one. And then with this phase 3, we have started demolition of the former Summers Drive. And we will begin doing kind of the site work ahead of hopefully a fall construction start on this. So again, we appreciate your continued support as we continue to move through the process for the next continuing phases of 4 and 5.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Councilman Lavelle? Your district? No?
Really excited to see this thing move forward.
Thank you so much. Anything else? If not, can I get a motion to approve?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, that motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Brooke.
Thank you.
Thanks, Addie. Okay, moving into the consent agenda. That's it for our main agenda. We'll show that, and you could make a motion to approve in its entirety,
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve in its entirety.
unless there are questions.
The consent agenda, unless there are any questions, as I wanted to say before.
So move.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, motion passes. Anything further, Director? If there's nothing further, I suppose a motion to adjourn is in order. Can I get a motion?
So move.
And second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, all opposed, motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you.